The stage is all set up for your performance. Feels silent. You can hear the pellets creak under your feet. You feel a little dizzy, a little unsteady suddenly.
So, are you ready for your thing now? Let me know when I should turn on the karaoke carousel.
I can see that.
Immediately, a loud feedback noise startles the room. You feel like an amateur. How are you supposed to hold the mic? Should you just sing into it? Where should you stand? Hands. Where do you put your hands? The bar is full and buzzing with chatter. No one is paying you any attention. But still you feel your knees turn to noodles. Okay, now a couple is looking at you. Even worse. They are going to hate you.
Waves are beginning to die down. Look at those little bastards. Simmer down. Simmer down, bastards. Oh? Who? Okay. When did this person stay here? Oh. I've been out on the sea for most of the past week. The weather's been good for fishing, so I usually start at 4 in the morning. Yes, that's the optimal time. Got to make the most of the calm. I've been sleeping like a corpse after. The sea really takes its toll. Now I'm just waiting for the wind to settle to get out there again. Sorry I couldn't help you out. Maybe I can help you find someone else. Really? Are you sure you're not also looking for Nadia Harnoncourt? Or Ignis Nielsen? Or the great lost city of Ace under the waves? A lot of stuff. I guess that makes you into some sort of terrier. Either way, I can't help you out. I'll just keep the Corda Elysium in the channel, if that's okay. It's too shallow near the pier. Aye, ma'am. And it's a jetty, by the way. Of course. Jetty. I prefer a good jetty to a pier any day. Jetty? Hello, detectives. It's good to see you here. I only just arrived myself.
What brings you here, madame?
Nothing, really. I've had my eye on this jetty for weeks now, so I decided to investigate it personally. This cluster of buildings isn't on any of the official maps, as far as I can tell.
That. And she's also keeping an eye on you.
Spying has such a negative connotation. I did track your progress along the coast, however, and decided I would be better able to assist you from here. Then there's the matter of that little scamp in old lady clothes. She threatened to paint the cordelate she read. Like blood, you see. Well, I like it the way it is. White.
What is this? Destruction of property, hooliganism, elder abuse, and who is this scamp anyway?
No need. Lillian and I are getting on much better. For one, she appreciates the concept of rent. How do I like it?
Water drips down eaves of Eternite. The jetty below her feet creaks to the tune. The smell of salt and dog shit in the background.
It's pornographically poor. The street has no name, all the men are dead or missing. And is that the carcass of a motor carriage over there? I'm surprised that woman hasn't put me to the sword yet. Maybe she will. You should ask your questions while you can.
Dark eyes survey the coast leading up to Martinez. Dull grey metal rests in her scabbard. A sword. The wind is too loud for her to hear.
Fortunately for you, Madame, the RCM is on the scene.
All right. Politics time. Let's react. Real men, real politics, real thoughts in your head.
Oh, I'm not frightened, officer. I'd never... Have I told you how they discovered this place? No, they're in Sealindian, Isala. Well, your condition has left you no worse off than most of these people. The literacy rate is around 45% west of the river. 50 years of occupation have left these people in an oblivion of poverty. I knew you would sympathize. Most Revacholians will never know what this place means. Our home. This island of matter. Or why they were ferried over in the first place. Remind me to tell you one day. For now, how can I assist you in this new location?
Do we?
I hear you have singled out a suspect and are in pursuit. This is cause for cautious optimism. I would not want to delay you.
This story she will tell only before she leaves Martinez, at the very end of her stay.
Maybe there is something else I can assist you with, while you're hot in pursuit? Of course, anything to help. I am sorry to have been the bearer of bad news. If there is anything else I can help you with, please ask.
Our tenant, the policeman. I hope the waves don't keep you up at night. What can I help you with? I can wash it for you, but it's going to take about a half an hour. Think you can stay put for that long?
I could use a breather. It's been another track and field day.
Well, hand it over then, and I'll see what I can do. Must say, I'm proud of this one. It's pretty nice underneath all that filth. I hope you take better care of it than its last owner. Nay, I haven't seen anyone lately. This is my little cinder block town. I know what goes on around here.
She's being evasive. She knows something.
There was a murder in Martinez. She might be a suspect. We would appreciate your help.
Would you now? I know how this world works, and it doesn't work when people tell on each other. No, it's not like that, man. With him we called you. Right now, you just arrive by yourself, like a raven plucking at the window glass. There's not much to tell. People come and go. Now, was there something else?
I see him. I hope you don't mind if we look around anyway.
You should look around your shack. Maybe she's rented it out to others too.
Tequila sunset. Can't really remember seeing any women after losing my keys.
It's a touchy topic. He hasn't got laid in ages. He really has no idea who this Ruby is, sire.
My jacket?
A look of consternation crosses the man's face. He looks at you, then at his bottle, then back at you.
What the fuck are you talking about, Tequila? Faun? That's medium concept stuff, not my style at all. I can't believe I'm saying this, but maybe you should lay off the booze. It's fucking with your head.
It becomes abundantly clear to you how this man managed to lose his keys, business, friends, and girlfriend. I'm calling it. It's neurological.
That shit is so medium concept, I wouldn't touch it with a stick. But yeah, okay. I'm sure it looks great on you.
It's an okay jacket, if you are into that look. Okay, let's step aside for a second. I have something I want to talk about. I've been meaning to have a little chat with you about your sense of style. To be perfectly blunt, you are dressed like a blood-hungry mercenary.
That's right. You're protected in your ceramic carapace. Whatever harm you inflict on that world won't be visited on you.
Then maybe you should change your look. You know the expression, the clothes make the man? The right outfit in the right situation can make all the difference in the world. Let's not get ahead of ourselves, detective.
A warm smile.
Anyway, we should probably get back to the case. Let's go.
Don't call her.
There's no waking him from his stupor. His mind is elsewhere.
The legend! He's back. And firstly, I got smokes and piss and a little speed to spice things up.
As you look at the floorboards in this corner of the shack, it's clear one of them isn't quite level with the others. The edge of a floorboard next to it looks scratched. Hollow space underneath the floorboards is dark and damp. You can barely make out the mixture of sand and sawdust below. Nothing particular catches your eye. Looks like more reeds. There might be something hidden inside the sand though. Something bad. Someone's night thoughts, a last resort, a bad idea. You stick your hand in and start combing through the sand. Dry, not like outside. Fine dust. And then something hard wrapped in paper. A small cylindrical object. You pull it out. A bullet. A 9mm bullet, to be exact. Fit for all muzzle loaders of that caliber. Like your own Villiers pistol, for example. The floorboard isn't interested. Maybe the washerwoman is. You have enough to confront her with. It's extra ammunition. She's locked and loaded, ready to fight some cops. On the table, you see a bowl of water, a rough soap, and next to it, a small hand mirror. A straight razor soaks inside the wash basin. Scrubbing all the necrotic tissue off your hands takes a while. The fingernails are especially hard. Death has made its way into every nook and cranny. Should have used gloves. Detectives use gloves when they go rummaging around in someone's dead brain. But man persists, and finally, your bruised hands look clean and presentable. Sort of. The sudden absence of the morbid dead tissue smell is uplifting. An old mirror hangs on the wall. You see the reflection of your face in it, adorned with the expression. The old woman still sits in her chair, continuing with her chores. As she does so, she quietly hums to herself. The buzz of electric lights blends together with the slow rumble of the ocean waves at night. There's a gap where the name of that song should be. You should ask her about it right now.
Yes, I can't really sleep anymore. Only a few hours a night. It happens when you grow older. My suggestion is, don't. Don't grow any older than you already are. That's old enough. What's troubling your mind? A lullaby my mother used to sing. I sang it to my kids too. It's an old Samaritan children's song. Surrender to the night.
That's kind of grim for a children's song, even if it is a lullaby.
Yes, it does. Damn that girl.
But you didn't put it there, did you? She did.
Gone and hid things in there? She's usually a good tenant, and not a stupid one either. Yes, I let my room to that Ruby girl. As I've done before when she's been in trouble or just looking for solitude. I've made it clear. We welcome all kinds of people here. She came last Friday, left on Monday in a hurry. What has she gotten herself into, that girl?
That's for the police to find out. Right then, please answer each question to the best of your ability. I'm sure we have a few.
Yes, early with the dogs, around 8 o'clock, I think. I cleaned it, like I always do. No. She's good company. Knows how to talk to an old woman. At my age, you don't get a lot of quality conversation. So I really appreciate that about her.
Did she talk to you much during her last stay?
No, she was mostly silent this time. Kept to herself. She tried not to let it show, but I could tell she hadn't come to fish. Usually she likes to cast a few lines, but this time she mostly stayed in her room. How would I know? She's a gruff one, but not violent. She doesn't go around toting a gun.
You could ask her about your hunch, that it was a desperate measure. See if she thinks Ruby fits the bill.
Aye, do tell. Exit from what?
The lieutenant stops writing for a moment. He looks at you, then at the old woman.
No, she's a fighter. Not that I know of, though she was into nice music. She once showed me a few mixtape millions she'd made. Although I guess she was pretty handy with the mechanical and technical stuff. Even fixed the heater in the shack. You should be thankful for that. I don't know. Further up the coast, she tried to leave quietly, but the hinges on that door screeched like a cat in heat. Woke me up. I heard her rushing in those heavy boots, heading up north.
It's a peninsula. She might be trapped.
You'll never find her, you know. She knows the coast like the back of her hand. You only just arrived.
I wouldn't worry about that, man. We are persistent.
Are you sure you'd rather stay here? Get a nice cozy fire going in the heater? Seems like a better idea to me.
The felled electric mural. You feel like you should go look at it again. Step closer this time.
What more do you want to know about that poor girl? Yes, let's hear those other questions. One thing, officer. If you do find her, please go easy on her. She's a good girl, whatever she's gotten herself mixed up in.
The bear's eyes are still glowing red. It's guarding over the freezing corpse hidden inside its belly.
All right. I will need a little help carrying him. You take the hands, I'll take the legs.
Hey, was there something you needed? Got the 20 real? Good. You got the room for the night, but remember, you'll need another 20 real tomorrow.
Hello again, officers. Have you come to admire my mural?
I don't believe it. I've never known those boys to have manners. There'll never be skulls, but their hearts are in the right place. Fat chance, but you can still do your part to revitalize the neighborhood.
She throws you a conspiratorial glance, then presses her finger to her lips and squints up at the sky, as though straining to hear something in the distance.
Have you noticed the quiet? Every so often, you might hear a gunshot pierce the air somewhere in Jamrock. But in Martinez, no gunshots, no sirens. The people are languishing in boredom and complacency. This place is a sepulchre. We'll paint it red. We bring the raucous. You bring the sirens.
Paintbrush? Check. Heavy fuel oil? Check. Now the only thing left to do is paint the wall. The paintbrush in your hand is like a loaded revolver. What will it be, Desperado? Quite a few things come to mind. You've spoken. The wall will now silently repeat the message for a decade or so, until the sea air degrades the paint, adding another layer of detritus to the city.
Are you trying to sneak up on me? Come to slit my throat in my sleep?
Apparently, she doesn't like people standing behind her back. Logic error. She is not sleeping right now.
Pig's come to take me out, trying to snuff me out. Don't get fucking clever with me, pig. You think you're so clever.
Still here, stuck in this damn jam, my man. What's up?
It's the ledger you found in the trash, a cabbage of papers hanging from the board, with the permeables drawer inside. It's barely held together by a clip, then made complete by the faint smell of urinal cleaner. It takes about half an hour to piece one together, using the system you've devised. Which one do you want? This one is relatively easy to reconstruct. Overnight on 1202, a graffito, nay, a mural, appears on an 8-story tenement overlooking central Jamrock. The building is a sparsely inhabited ghost tower, part of a failed real estate development called Grand Couronne. Cause of failure: rent too high. The mural is enormous. 2 silhouettes, a man and a woman, are kissing. The text cut into their form reads, "True love is possible only in the next world. For new people, it is too late for us. Wreak havoc on the middle class." People call it that thing and that fucking thing. It's visible for miles. In 2 days, the station's complaints desk gets clogged with requests to remove the bummer. You and your partner are assigned to the case. The graffito crew is easy to track down. Only the bell lectures have the literage of industrial paint to cover the surface. One of the graffito artists is rumored to be rich. They take responsibility for the execution, but not the design. The ideologue of the Next World mural, as the crew calls it, remains an unknown. The case files do not show you finding the author of the design. The crew agrees to clean up after themselves. However, your partner, JV, is against the removal, citing public support for conservation. This leads to a debate in Precinct 41, which then spreads to the streets of Jamrock, ending in a rare plebiscite organized by you and the rest of Row 3. The 9,000 people subjected to the mural's message, all of Lakeside, Central Jamrock, and Villalobos, plus half of the eminent domain, participate in the vote. Although the case begins with what appears to be a lot of rambling on the streets as to how juvenile and stupid the mural is, given a choice between 2 options. A staggering 78% of voters choose to keep it. Turns out the opposition were a loud minority, and that love truly is possible in the next world for new people, and it is too late for us. In any case, it appears to have been a rare case of civil activity in the quarter, and agreement as well. What do you want to tackle next? Not much has changed in the meanwhile. A bunch of sodden papers still sags from the clipboard. You hear someone walking around inside, rearranging the furniture. The number on the panel says 10. A poor communard from the looks of it. The room is barely bigger than a closet.
Do I have to open the door? Do you have a warrant? I'm not obligated to open the door if you don't have a warrant.
It's generally easier to do things if you have literally any reason. This door is made of metal and appears to be reinforced. Someone here really values their security. No one answers. As you approach the metal grill, you can hear several voices having what appears to be an animated discussion. This must be it. Beyond this door lies the beating heart of radical communism in Martinez. Somehow, the night air softens the smell of trash and sea brine. As the breeze pulls through the canvas like a shuttle through a loom, you catch a hint of something unexpected, something earthy, warm, and burnt. The acrid smell of failure. No, that's just slightly burnt coffee, a smell you would recognize anywhere.
Just look at this pig, sniffing about after hours. Must have slipped my mind. You know how it goes.
The metal grill is cool to the touch. You can make out at least two separate voices. Two voices, both male, approximately early 20s.
Careful with those now. I have it. It's going to work. I can feel it.
The clang of metal reverberates all along the scaffolding. The voices coming from the other side fall silent.
Who's there? Is that you, Maurice? Who said communist? Did we say communist? Get out of here.
For a moment, silence.
What's the passphrase?
There's no response. You begin to wonder whether they've slipped out some back way. No, they're still there. You can feel them back there.
All right. The key's taped to the back of the door frame. Just make sure you put it back when you're done, or we'll all be locked out. And do watch the concrete. It just kind of falls away, in places.
Have fun at your underground meeting, pig. Hope it's a blast.
The two young men are either oblivious to or ignoring your entrance. Their attentions are fixed on whatever it is they're stacking in the middle of the floor. Matchboxes, it appears.
I think it's Holden, Alexis.
It is. It's Holden.
It's definitely not Holden. Those matchboxes are stacked so haphazardly, it's like they want them to collapse.
Careful, careful. Damn, hardly any difference. You're late.
You should know the meeting starts at 10 p.m. sharp.
One leader and one follower. The most ancient power dynamic.
That's the whole point, of course. We can't just have anybody waltzing in here. Martinez is crawling with reactionary infiltrators. There are RCM spies, for one. Just recently, someone even broke into my apartment, if you can believe it. To say nothing of Gottwaldians and iconoclasts.
The young man's companion, reflexively snorts at the mention of Gutvalians and iconoclasts.
We all have to take precautions, especially during these delicate times. What matters is that you've made it, and that you've done the reading.
Uh-oh. No one said anything about reading. You'll just have to wing this one.
You have? Excellent. Let's hear your critique then. They always say that when they haven't done the reading. Well, this is getting awkward. I'm not sure what you're expecting to find here then.
Maybe he can explain himself.
In the most generous sense, I would say we're cultivating revolutionary consciousness.
Yes, that's probably the best way to describe it.
But more specifically, we're running a reading group. The most rigorous and theoretically advanced materialist reading group in Martinez.
Comrade Steban is a great discussion leader, one of the best at the university.
It's obvious they take this group of theirs extremely seriously. Whatever you do, don't compare it to a common book club.
We have been known to get into some spirited debates, but it's always in service of our larger intellectual and ideological project.
Precisely. We are not interested in senseless parroting. We like to read critically.
Within the contours of Mazovian historical materialism, of course.
Huh. As though you can call that problem teaching.
One thing you learn quickly at university is that you're not going to find a real education in any lecture hall or discussion seminar.
We are post-attendance, basically.
Exactly. The only worthwhile part of the so-called École Normale de Revachol is the library. That's where we've made our greatest critical strides. We study all the foundational texts of Mazovian theory, of course. Just last week we finished the second volume of Puncher and Watman's Innocence of Capital.
Truly extraordinary.
And before that we spent 6 weeks on State and Plasm.
Uh-oh. You can feel your attention span rapidly deteriorating.
We've also read Wertmüller's The Megastructure of History, and before that, Real and Reality.
Communist theorists love puns, in case that wasn't obvious.
Hablars une paix infernale.
The original Fisdale translation, not that watered-down revisionist garbage.
Obviously.
But, of course, our special emphasis is on the theories of Ignaz Nilsson and his followers, especially the inframaterialists. You're not familiar with him? It's pretty advanced stuff. You may not be ready for it yet, gendarme. Only Krasmazov's most trusted lieutenant, the evangelist of the revolution, and the founding father of the People's Republic of Samara.
It's hard to overstate how unimpressed he is that you've never heard of this world historical individual.
He also happens to be the greatest communist theorist after Mazov himself. It was Nilsson who first postulated the existence of ideological plasm, which forms the basis of inframaterialist theory.
The young man sighs. His companion looks about furtively.
Lynching? No. We're not an operational cell.
We think of ourselves as more of an intellectual vanguard.
Our stance? What? Do you want to know if the SRV has established a party line on the lynchings in Martinez?
Though historically speaking, the SRV has supported direct action against right-wing paramilitary squads, especially when they are doing the Indo-Tribe's dirty work.
Good point. So as a provisional matter, I can say we support it.
Are they being sarcastic? You feel like you're caught in some elaborate joke labyrinth, but it's impossible to see your way through.
No, we're an independent organization. We acknowledge and respect the union's efforts, but our interests are more theoretical than Mr. Clare's. That's easy. Crime is simply the inevitable expression of the injustice and incoherence embedded within capitalism itself. It's a symptom, in other words, not a cause.
His companion can barely suppress a yawn.
No, unfortunately, the communards were hunted down and killed nearly to a man. All that's left of them are bones and old rifles.
His companion's eyes widen as you hold up the ancient weapon. He's practically itching to stick that thing in someone's face and pull the trigger.
Yes, like that one. I wonder how many of these are still lying around in cellars or sealed up behind the masonry. Can I hold it? It's heavier than I was expecting.
Though what, exactly, you can't say. He turns the rifle over again, admiring the glint of light off the oily barrel. When he's finished, he returns the rifle to you with a nod of appreciation.
What do you mean? This is the reading room. We're in something of a rebuilding phase.
Some of our former comrades didn't have the ideological fortitude our work demands.
Intellectual attrition is maybe the best way to describe it. Felix said he couldn't keep up with the reading on top of his classwork. And Susanna wanted to read text other than Mazovian theory. Like novels, if you can believe it.
Imagine the audacity of wanting to read a novel in a reading group.
We've tried recruiting new members, but unfortunately the current intellectual climate is pretty hostile to inframaterialist thought. These days, if you're on the left, the ascendant schools are the Godwaldians and their iconoclasts.
Don't forget about Maurice and the turnips.
Right. Then there was the whole turnip debacle.
Whatever this turnip business is about, one thing is perfectly clear. These young students have a much deeper understanding of communism than you do. You could learn a thing or two from them. If you can convince them, you're one of them.
They're the most depressing school of communism. They love writing long books with a patina of Mazovian theory to cover up their cheap psychologizing.
A gang of cheap psychologists and intellectual midgets. Typical Gottwalders, in other words.
It's okay for Uli to say that, because his dad is from Gottwald. The Gottwald school believe that intellectuals as a class are incapable of sparking revolutionary change. So all they can do is critique capitalism from inside itself.
In other words, they have lost faith in their own relevance.
That's why they spend all their time smoking cigarettes and writing long works of criticism that make you want to commit suicide. It is miserable. That's probably why they're always committing suicide. You see, the Gottwald school look like communists. They talk like communists. But scratch the patina and you'll see beneath that they're just depressed liberals who've read too many books. For starters, they love talking about beans. That's right. Iconoclasts are obsessed with beans. They love thinking about beans. They love counting beans. But most of all, they love building models to predict how many beans there'll be in the future.
Nota bene, iconoclast is an extra pejorative form of the already pejorative name Mazovian economists, a moderate school of Mazovianism which advocates the gradual transition to communism through carefully managed economic modernization rather than violent social revolution.
They're by far the most bean-centric school of communism. Oh, please. There's nothing moderate about their love for counting beans. If I were a Gottwaldian, I would probably diagnose them with Bohnenfixierung. You see, iconoclasts claim to be communists, but in reality they're just liberals with hard-ons for spreadsheets. Of course not. The only people who actually call themselves liberals are mouth-foaming reactionaries.
Basically indistinguishable from fascists. You'd need an X-ray machine to tell the difference.
Cindy is... how to describe her role?
Something of an ideological auxiliary, perhaps.
Yes, that's exactly how I would put it. And naturally, we support her radical counter-liberal aesthetics.
But she refuses to submit an essay, so we can't call her a member of the group per se.
That doesn't stop her from using the room for studio space, of course. It's an unfortunate story. You see, our ex-comrade Maurice is something of an economist.
He's studying macro and microeconomics.
Right. So a few weeks ago we were discussing the extra physical capabilities of the revolutionary state. And Morris said, what were his exact words, Ulex's?
It was unbelievable. He said, turnips don't care if they are grown by communists, moralists, or Vulcan. They grow just the same.
Basically, he was rejecting the whole foundation of inframaterialist theory.
What is this inframaterialist business they keep blathering about? You've never heard of anything like it.
Simply that under suitably revolutionary conditions, crop yields naturally increase relative to non-revolutionary crops, which Morris somehow has the gall to deny.
Susanna said that he has been hanging out with some non-communists lately.
For us, the question boiled down to, if you don't even accept the basic ideas of Nielsen and inframaterialist theory, why are you in the reading group? Well, it wasn't so much that he was expelled.
He just quit coming. We haven't seen him around for weeks.
Go ahead.
The young man frowns at the little pile of boxes on the floor.
Nothing, just messing around until the meeting started.
They're watching those matchboxes awfully intently for two guys who are just messing around. It's almost as though they were trying to create the most unstable structure they could, with predictable results.
We typically only accept new members once per semester. There's this whole process with essays and presentations on assigned topics. But given that we have some extra seating at the moment, I guess we could be convinced to expedite an application or two.
Stefan, you can't be serious. For gendarme?
I am serious. As materialists, we've got to adapt to conditions as they are. Besides, he'll still need to pass the interview portion of the entrance process. Assuming he's even still interested, that is. Sure, we're here most every night. Maybe we'll catch you again.
Sleep well, gendarme.
Special thanks to my patrons, Justin Wood, Hobbs, Koopy Vegeta, Gunrunner and Bat. You can join my patrons at patreon.com/HoldenGatsby, follow me on Twitter at HoldenGatsby, and follow my Twitch at twitch.tv/HoldenGatsby. Don't forget to subscribe to both of my channels. Thanks for watching, bye.